Yo, what's going on, guys? And supposedly Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga, if the Warriors were to make a trade, those are their two trade chips. I wonder about the other young guys like Baldwin, Ryan Rollins, etc. Moses Moody. It seems like they really like Moses Moody because he's like the young guy that plays in the playoffs. But this is what we're hearing, that if the Warriors were to make a deal, Jordan Poole seems like the obvious candidate to get traded. Not saying that he would be salary dumped. No, they would use him in a trade because I talked about this in the other video that Jordan Poole's kind of in this Reggie Jackson situation where Reggie Jackson, when he was on the Thunder, like near the end of his tenure, he got sick of being a backup. Even though he was playing 30 minutes a night, he wanted to be a starter. He wanted to, be the team's point guard, team's lead guard. And that's kind of where Jordan Poole is. Supposedly he's been chill somewhat, but like he clearly wants to be a starter. He doesn't want to be the backup anymore, even though he's playing like 30 minutes a night. And then Jonathan Kuminga, because they're going to have to pay Kuminga, and then, Jordan Poole's contract's going to keep getting more expensive. Those are the two most likely candidates. So Steve Kerr on Draymond's podcast made it seem like Jordan Poole and Kuminga are on the trade block. Assuming that those two are, going to be traded, what could they get back reasonably, and who could be some partners for them? And right here, Tim from The Athletic says the idea that Poole and Kuminga might be discussed in trade talk is not a new one given the Warriors' financial situation. Jordan Poole's exploding salary starting next season and Kuminga's wobbly second season with, in 2 years you're going to have to pay him. It's the fact that what are going to be the factors that will determine the answer to this question? And with Mike Dunleavy being going to be the new guy in charge, somebody's going to call them about Jordan Poole. And Tim writes that Toronto is an interesting person because they need a point, they need a point guard, they need a guard. And it'll be interesting to see because they might have to attach, Kuminga down the road. So I don't think they trade Jordan Poole and Kuminga together unless it was for like a superstar. Like let's say they called up the Raptors and the Raptors offered like OG Anunoby and some other guys on the roster. I really don't know who else they would be interested in on their roster, but let's just say a deal for OG Anunoby and they go out there and they offer them Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga straight up. That could be something that gets there, but the belief is that Jordan Poole will be traded separately and Jonathan Kuminga will be traded separately if they were needed to be traded, due to the fact that the reason why they wanted to trade them separately is in a year or so, if they have to trade Klay Thompson, they believe that by keeping Jonathan Kuminga, they'll be able to trade Klay Thompson without needing to include any picks because they'll be able to use Jonathan Kuminga and maybe another young guy to move one of those big contracts. But again, that's not a prime motivation. They've got Curry, they're bringing back Draymond, they've got Klay under contract for one more year. They're leaning towards keeping this group together. But we do need to address the fact that, hey, yeah, they've thought about breaking this up. They're aware who can be traded, who can has value, who they can move. So I think that's just them being smart and just taking everything in that's being thrown at their way. So for me, I think this is a good situation in terms of, they're just looking at their cards.